I've been an internal operator helping scale agencies all across the world for the last 10 years. These are the top 17 lessons that I've learned scaling over 400 agencies since 2015. Let's get right into the video. Following up after a sale is one of the most important lessons that agency operators still neglect today. So let me walk you through what this looks like. In all of our agencies, we start with a core tenet foundation of understanding client support at the level of like Ritz-Carlton or Marriott hotels. We're anticipating a client's incoming actions and desires before they're coming down the pipeline so that we can meet those needs as they come. What this looks like in practice is we're monitoring what's occurring within a business and we're keeping our pulse on the type of income, cash flow, or restrictions that a company might be experiencing. And we're anticipating that these things are going to manifest in our communication, in our deliverables, and in our overall project together. Which means if things are going negatively in a business, which is why they've hired one of our agencies in the first place, we're going to be meeting them in more of a helpful tone and trying to match the energy of the situation at hand. Whereas when we're in scaling mode, we're going to be much more risk oriented, like putting a lot of risk on the table, being bolder in how we operate with that particular client. So sensitivity increases and decreases given what's occurring within a customer's own life. And then we also make sure that we're anticipating a client's needs and following up with them consistently. This looks like a lot of different things, but basically the fortune is in the follow-up even after a sale occurs. Keeping that client consideration very high and communication with high levels of touch point is one of the most important things that a customer will be paying you for years. The second thing is we give our clients homework. We don't just do everything for them. This isn't a daycare. We make sure that we are meeting each other in the trench together. So the same way, like, you wouldn't want to go to war for somebody if they're not the same ones fighting the battle. You want to go in there with the trench knowing that the client is in there with you and that we're facing the problem together. We do assign things to the client right away, even if they're small things, just to set the precedent and the tone that that's how the relationship is going to go. We firmly believe at our organizations that how it starts is how it ends with clients. If the client is highly resistant at the first day, we know that it's going to end that way at the end as well. So this is the same reason that we fire clients. We make sure that we are starting off on the right tone, and that way it will end on the right tone. Number 3, charging low is selfish. This is fundamentally true in 2026. If you charge your clients too low for the deliverable that you are completing, it is selfish. And I'll break it down like this. Charging too low might look like you charge $3,000 for a service that should cost $9,000. And why agency owners sometimes do this is from a point of security and safety. It is safer for the customer to pay you $3,000 if you in your head know that you're not going to be going in the trench for them. So charge more and put your heart and soul on the line for this customer, especially if you're going to be doing deep fulfillment work for them, okay? If it's creative work, you don't want to be doing absolutely everything with AI. Get your hands dirty, get involved, go in and do the iterations that the client is asking, but don't charge too low. It is an absolutely selfish thing to do in 2026. Clients have more money than you may be, accustomed to or realize, so it is not like a bad idea to charge more. In fact, we have clients who, if we were to pitch them a lower service product, they wouldn't even look at it because it's not within the budget of things that they buy. They like to buy things that are in like the $25,000, $50,000, $75,000 range. We don't sell them shit if it's like too south of where their center is. So you want to remember, clients have a lot of money. There are literally companies that we work with where they have $1 million in advertising budget every week. There are some companies that we work with where their budget is $1 million, every month, right? So there's an enormous amount on the line, and for them to pay a contractor like yourself is only a minor part of their operation. Another lesson here is number 4. A 3-month revenue plateau is almost always a red flag that something is wrong in one of the 3 categories I'm about to talk about. Traffic, conversion, and fulfillment are the 3 core tenets of all agencies. If we see that the revenue has stagnated within an agency, especially if the agency is new or running an offer for the first time, we are immediately aware that there's a breakpoint somewhere, a constraint somewhere, and it's always in one of the 3 categories. So that means if the conversion like the interest in the product, so like the traffic and conversion is high, okay? We're not like having a problem closing deals. We're not having a problem attracting people in. That means that our fulfillment and systems are probably not up to par, meaning we either need to hire more, add new systems, do something different within the fulfillment side. Now, if the fulfillment side is dialed and we could take on 25 clients today, we know that the problem is somewhere else. So it's either in one of the other two categories. Either there's not enough traffic, meaning we need to increase marketing spend and start looking at other channels, or there's a problem within the conversion, meaning that the sales operators are not selling enough, or their close rate is not high enough, or there's something breaking within the sales cycle. So we start to look at these things. If the company is making the same amount of revenue for 3 months in a row, we know there is a problem. It is that simple. Okay, number 5, stop over-engineering the back end. I hear day in and day out about agency operators that are obsessed with Go High Level. If that's you, great. But I'm going to tell you that if you are fucking spending, 24 hours a month optimizing your Go High Level setup on the back end, you are wasting fundamentally fuckloads of time. We do not use Go High Level for this reason. None of our agencies use it. We all use Wavefront. And the reason for it is it's fucking simple to set up. In 1 fucking hour, we can have a brand new client portal set up with new products, a new agency, a whole new backend, instantly done. But there's not a lot of customization that we can do. And that makes it so that way all of our focus is about getting the product dialed in the way that we want it. We don't want to, continuously try to over-engineer something that we don't understand. I am not a UX UI designer, and neither are most agency owners. You do not have the level of understanding to build a good backend in the first place. So why the fuck would you be trying to engineer something that you don't even know if it looks good or not? There are literally people who go to college for 5-6 years just to learn this shit. And they go to institutes in, Switzerland to learn good design. That is not your fucking cup of tea. Your job is to hire that cat if that's what you're really looking to do. But at the end of the day, you don't want to waste time in these fields anyways. There's no point. Client portals are really not where the client is hanging out, and they really fundamentally don't fucking care what it looks like or how it operates. As long as it works and looks okay, you're good to go. We use Wavefront, we use Notion, we use Google Docs. It's fucking simple, and it keeps the motor running, right? Okay, number 6. We have a pretty good referral rate. Okay, I would say across all of the agencies that I'm currently overseeing, we have a 70% client referral rate, meaning the odds that a client refers us another client is 70%. Now, we have a very specific protocol for this. We look to duplicate a client twice during their life cycle, meaning one customer refers 2 more in the term that they're working with us. So we have a literal document that is tracking how many referrals each client has referred. When a client is really happy about a result, like they're texting us at 2, 3 in the morning, telling us about something cool that's happened in their business, we are immediately asking them for 2 things right then and there. A video testimonial. Hey, can you make us a quick video talking about what it is that you're experiencing so we can use it in our marketing? And number 2, we say, who else in your life, in your circle, in your business, in your community, do you know that wants a similar service to this or could use this particular result as well? And can you introduce them to us? When a client also sends us a referral like that, we do not pay them in any other format than hard cash. We make a bank wire right then and there. It is a sizable amount of money because we want them to know that we really respect the fact that they were willing to introduce us. So we don't slack on commissions. We make sure that they get paid well. And we always deliver it in cash, no other way. We don't pay them in monopoly money, gift cards, or prorated services unless they deliberately request it, which they never have. Number 7, in regards to gifts, we send gifts all the time to customers. Why? Because we're making a fuck ton of money on agency work as it is. Okay, this is what happens when you charge enough. Is because once you have enough money, you can send people gifts, right? Now, if something great is happening within the client's personal life, business life, or something is happening within the company, a major milestone, an anniversary, or something major, we send that person gifts. And we actually go through the old calls and we're looking at notes. Oh, they mentioned they like this band. We look and see, is there a concert nearby them? Can we get them and their co-founder 2 tickets to go, right? So we're sending really high quality gifts on major milestones. On the contrary, we send a good gift on a solemn event, okay? If a family member passes away, a friend, an employee, or something major occurs at the casualty level, We send flowers, we make a kind gesture, or even a handwritten card to express our condolences in those moments. The only thing that we don't do, we do not send gifts on birthdays. The reason for this is just it's not the most effective way to communicate with clients. It's fine to know their birthday and say, hey, happy birthday, but we don't send gifts on birthdays. We only send gifts on major milestones. Okay, back to what I was saying in regards to giving clients homework. How it starts is how it ends. Fire bad clients fast. If you notice that the communication with a particular client is detrimental to your psyche, to your well-being, or something is fundamentally not clicking in the way that you communicate with this client, how it starts is how it ends, okay? So if the first 72 hours have been a disaster with this client, if they were highly combative on a sales call, or highly combative on the onboarding process, or just have a lot of weird energy, we fire the client, okay? We'll complete the current project that we're on. If we absolutely can't do that, we refund the client and we move on. Our sense of well-being and our sense of peace are way more important than any amount of capital that a client can throw at us, and we fundamentally believe this. We have had really horrendous clients throw us multi-six-figure deals that we've declined, and we're like, we just can't work with you. You're a pain in the ass. Sometimes we will chop wood and carry water if it's dealable, but if a client is disrespectful, uses foul language with our employees, or disrespects us in a threatening manner, we don't tolerate that, and I would not encourage you to do that either. Okay, number 9, your best marketing is client results. I do see agencies still today that don't do case studies, don't collect video testimonials, have literally nothing to show for the results that they're getting. They try to do that later, or it's a conversation for tomorrow. Have the conversations now. Clients are also most wowed in the first 15 days of fulfilled work. So if you've delivered a few deliverables within 15 days and they've shown that they're liking what they're getting, requesting a video testimonial is powerful. Here's what it does in 2 ways. Number 1, you have this marketing material that you can now use. And number 2, it gets them to literally admit to themselves that they're having a great time working with you. So it's a very powerful thing to keep retention high. We ask for client referrals typically once every 6 months, up to 3 times a year. Okay, so leading into my next point, we only hire for attitude at all of our agencies. We don't necessarily hire a fuck ton of people. Typically, most of our agencies are 3 agency operations, or 3 operator operations, meaning that they really only have a point and then 2 other people. So our agencies are super slim on how they run with staffing, but we only hire people who have incredible attitude because we can train them in any other category later on. So they need to be fired up. What gets you excited about SEO? What gets you excited about Facebook ads? What gets you excited about working with these types of clients, right? What gets you excited in general? And then look for people who are just ready to go, fired up, ready to learn, ready to, increase their aperture of what they're experiencing. Hire those people, train them on the back end. Okay. Number 11, niche down or get bid out by everybody. This is so fucking crucial. Still today, I see agencies that sell a stack of services that have nothing to do with each other. Okay, so I literally, right before I was on this video, was in a Telegram chat with a bunch of very novice agency operators where I just kind of monitor what the fuck is going on in their world. And one person was selling Snapchat right next to Instagram, right next to Twitter, right next to Google, right next to Reddit. And I'm like, bro, that is a concoction of random shit. You need to be focused on one particular thing that you do well. If that's Snapchat, go full in on Snapchat and create remarkable platform level products that allow a customer to understand that you are an expert in that one area. If you want to do other services, you launch another agency entirely. Like, you don't add it on to an existing agency. You quite literally create an entire new agency with its own teams and SOPs and documentation, nomenclature, logos, branding, all of it. This is super important because clients do not understand that you are just a random agency. They know you as the guy who can do Snapchat, the guy who can do Instagram, the guy who can do SEO, the guy who can fix this particular problem, okay? So it's super important to niche down. Recurring revenue is the only real revenue. I was just on the phone 3 days ago with an agency out of Florida who told me that they are doing Reddit and Google type work for moving companies, which is great. They're all niched down in the right category, but they only service these clients on a la carte services. And I was blown away when he said they were doing like $3 to $4 million a year in these services. But the thing about that is, at any given moment, the whole business can collapse because you're relying on clients coming back to you and swiping a card again, whereas they swipe once and pay you forever. So really, you want to make sure you're getting recurring revenue. Also, agencies can't get bought or sold unless they have recurring revenue. Like, an agency can't get bought out by private equity, which is a lot of our focus right now, is trying to sell agencies and exit them because of their annual recurring revenue. But that's the only thing we get asked when we're putting an agency up for sale is, what is the ARR? Like, that's the first question out of their mouth is, how much does this company make every single year on a recurring basis? So if you don't have that, I don't know what else you're going to do. Number 13, systems beat talent every single time. Why? Because if you've got great talent that's like fired up, the only thing else that they need to understand how to serve and fulfill with clients is good systems that allow them to understand, like, step by step what they need to be doing. Okay. If there's a ton of guesswork on like how a client gets delivered or what the SOP actually is, things are gonna fall through the crack and things are gonna break. One of the things that we do when we're writing SOPs is somebody from the agency will actually walk through the SOP exactly how it is written. And if something breaks in the process of while they're doing that particular task from how the SOP is written, they stop, edit the SOP, and start again. So we make sure the SOPs are dialed to a T. They go through a process of refinement to make sure that that's the case. All right. By the way, on that point, you also can't sell your agency unless everything is documented. So that's super important to understand. Sales calls should feel like doctor's visit. You are prescribing antidotes to problems or accelerating a client's goals, similar to a dietitian, nutritionist, or fitness expert. Okay, so when they're talking to you about the problem or goal, you're prescribing an antidote. You're not just stacking a bunch of shit that you think they look good in. Okay, so that's very different. So if they're telling you, hey, I'm experiencing a traffic problem, you're going to sell them traffic problems or traffic solutions, right? So new marketing, new things on the front end that attract new leads. But adding additional products that have nothing to do with what the client is requesting is a way to just end up confusing your customer and making sure that they don't pay you in the end. It's not a super important lesson, but that's certainly something that we incorporate, is we make sure that we're just selling them the right shit. Number 15 goes hand in hand with the previous, productizing your service. Okay. So if we have an SEO agency, for example, we're going to make sure that everything is broken down into its own individual products. And we then combine those products into customized stacks for each customer as they're coming through the door. So we don't build instant stacks that can just automatically be deployed. That's a very rare situation that we would do that in an agency. Does it happen? Yes. Do we like to do that? No. We want to productize each and every little thing with a specific price point based on quantity or certain deliverables. So a quantitative and qualitative type of result that calculates the price. And then we productize that service, and then we stack it based on the client's needs. Fixed product, fixed name, fixed price. Okay, number 16, leverage is super important. If we're talking about points of leverage, leverage means putting a piece of effort that leverages another outcome with like less force, basically, right? So with partnerships, we are constantly trying to figure out how can we bolt on or connect with other agency operators and allow us to integrate at a very high level for them to accelerate. So, we try to find agency operators that are moving at a very fast pace and see what we can do together to create solutions together. Because if we can sell to one to many, that's a very powerful point of leverage. Lastly, like I was saying, you have to document everything in your agency if you're ever going to be focused about exiting, even if you just want to get into a different agency, different line of work, or sell it at some point. Screen record every single thing, write it down. Don't do it all with AI. Put it in Notion and fucking rock and roll. That's the only way to rock, bro. You got to make sure you have your fucking business buttoned up. Don't you want that? Okay, and last, if you want to learn how to start an Instagram automation agency, which I believe is fundamentally the best agency to start in 2026, DM me agency on Instagram at Law of One. Click the link in the description to book a call. It's free to book. There's no catch. If we feel like you're a good fit, we'll let you know. I will see you in the next one.